Breaking news, a brand new Sony full-frame mirrorless camera has leaked. Sony launches a satellite into space so you can take pictures. Sony has a new lens coming from Sigma, and Sony moves much of their production out of China. So much Sony coming after, I think, our sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the best place to start when you need something beyond just social media. When you need to control your brand and your message, when you need to sell products, take appointments from clients, or just make your photos and videos look their best for personal or business projects, start at squarespace.com/Tony. Get a free trial. When you love it, the coupon code Tony will get you 10% off. Thank you, Squarespace. Our top story, the Sony Star Sphere satellite that I told you about recently has officially launched. They still don't seem to be taking crew member reservations yet on their website, but I'll keep you posted so you can take pictures from space. Sony is moving their manufacturing out of China. More and more of their manufacturing is now being done at their Thailand facility that I personally got to take a tour of. What's important to understand here is that they will be manufacturing gear destined for Japan, Europe, and the United States from their Thailand facility. They are still doing manufacturing in China for cameras that will be sold in China. For decades, so many electronics were manufactured in China, and the world seemed okay with that. But the tide has started to turn. There have been a lot of tariffs placed against Chinese exports, and right now, digital still image cameras are not one of them. So it makes so much sense to distribute manufacturing across different factories, because in the past there have been things like fires and floods that have set back companies by many months. In fact, Sony specifically had a problem like that a couple of years back. So this does help to protect them, because theoretically the Chinese factories could take over some amount of the manufacturing output. But I do think it's mostly to distance themselves from China a little bit and limit the exposure that they might have to future tariffs, or simply bias against Chinese manufactured products that seems to be on the rise. I did see some news stories saying that this was kind of bad news for Nikon specifically, because Nikon was still doing a lot of manufacturing in China, but that's not how I interpret those news pieces. I think the risk for Nikon here is there are currently bans against shipping semiconductor manufacturing equipment to China, and Nikon makes some of that semiconductor manufacturing equipment in businesses separate from their still image cameras. So I think it's a completely different division that might be impacted. I don't think we're going to run out of Nikon cameras if there is some problem with China. So take that with a grain of salt. Recently, Sigma launched a teaser for a new lens coming on February 7th, and we don't yet know what this is officially, but SonyAlphaRumors is suggesting that it could be a 50mm f1.4. Sigma already has an E-mount 50mm f1.4, so presumably this one will be improved in some way. The existing one, which I had previously tested, is a DSLR lens that basically has a mirrorless adapter built into it, and Sigma has been refreshing their lineup to make native mirrorless lenses that also seem to be better quality in the other lenses that we've tested. So we look forward to seeing what they launch. And SonyAlphaRumors leaked that the Sony A7C Mark II is coming. This is a camera we predicted in our camera predictions because it seems so obvious. If you don't remember, the original A7C was almost exactly the A7 Mark III, but in a smaller, more compact, more attractive body. This was an A7 III that was more easy to travel with, and that didn't quite look so ugly because you could get it in retro styling. To me, this was Sony's attack directly on Fujifilm, which has sort of cornered the market on compact and attractive cameras. But I also see it as Sony trying to pick up some of the Micro Four Third user base who appreciates small and stylish, particularly when you factor in how many compact lenses they have launched recently, including some compact lenses from third parties. I'll tell you what I think the specs are going to be, though that's not part of the leak. The original A7C was about $200 less expensive than the A7 III. That put it at $1,800 versus $2,000. The A7 IV is about $2,500, so I'm going to guess it's similarly less expensive at about $2,300. I predict it'll have the same 33 megapixel full frame sensor from the A7 IV. It'll have steady shot inside, though in our test, the A7C had less effective steady shot. That's IBIS, that's sensor stabilization, because probably they had to fit it into a smaller space. Otherwise, they think it'll be an A7 IV with 10 frames per second, the new menu system, which is a huge upgrade, better autofocus. We found the autofocus in the A7C to be unreliable, especially for things like vlogging and video. And it'll do 4K 30 full width or 4K 60 with a 1.5 times crop. And I do want to add a new thought on that. I don't think the 1.5 times crop is such a deal breaker for Sony users that it used to be, because now they have so many great APS-C oriented video lenses, like power zoom lenses, those that can give you a good zoom range or those that can give you good bokeh, that will essentially eliminate that crop because the lenses are designed for the smaller sensor. And sure, it would be nice to have the full width 4K 60, but the fact is you could now use this as a full frame camera for still shooting. And then when you wanted to shoot video, put on an APS-C lens and get good quality 4K 60 out of it. I predict it'll still only have one card slot, and I'm not sure whether that's going to be just an SD card or if it'll be a CF Express Type A card. They might try to keep the size and cost down by making it only a SD card. Here's the biggest bummer. Sony AlphaRumors is saying Sony just ordered a whole bunch of the electronic viewfinders. It has a rangefinder style viewfinder, not unlike this A6400 here. So it goes up against your eye like this, but you don't have to push the camera against your nose. I love rangefinder style viewfinders, but this particular viewfinder was so low quality that I did not enjoy using it. It is small and low resolution and kind of laggy. So if they do use the same viewfinder, I'd be really disappointed. Still, I think most people looking for a camera like this are probably younger and will probably just hold their cameras out like this and use the rear screen, though that's also historically been below par, especially when we're so used to looking at our smartphone screens. I also want to point out Sony AlphaRumors has a YouTube channel. I really like the Sony AlphaRumors guy as a person. He seems like a nice guy. So check out his YouTube channel and subscribe to it. And thank you to our sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace makes any type of website incredibly easy to set up. Sell prints directly. We sold prints just this week and shipped them out to customers all through our Squarespace website. You can take appointments from clients. You can view detailed analytics to see who finds you and how they find you. And that helps you refine your entire business. I have multiple Squarespace websites for business and personal projects. You should too. Get started today at squarespace.com/Tony. Try it out for free. And when you love it, the coupon code Tony will get you 10% off. In the comments down below, I'd like to hear whether you will buy that A7C Mark II. I think I might if the EVF is not a deal breaker, because I would like a more compact camera that isn't $6,500, so I don't have to keep my A1 on my shoulder when I'm just taking snapshots around town. Bye.